Hey guys, Retro Dude here. Thanks for visiting my channel where we check out all things retro. We mainly focus on video games, but we do occasionally veer off into anime, cartoons, maybe even movies, toys. Today we're peering into anime territory. I want to reintroduce this anime to you guys. It was from the late 90s. The anime is called Yu Yu Hakusho. Let me talk a little bit about the premise of it. So basically you got teenage thug that up to no good. His life is going nowhere. Nobody expects anything of him. Everybody picks on him. So very first episode, he's just walking through town and people are picking fights with him. He goes to school. The teachers are picking fights with him. They're trying to get him expelled. It's just all around bad day for him. Walking through the streets, he meets up with this little kid who's playing with the ball. He stops to talk to him for a little bit, play with him. And while he's walking away, he notices that the kid's ball is rolling on the street. He basically dives in and saves the kid. And nobody expected him to make this selfless sacrifice in the underworld. So the king of the underworld decides to give him another shot at life. Now the series aired around mid-90s, like from the 95 to like 99 or 2000. If you were lucky enough to have cable TV around the 2000s, it actually aired very successfully in Cartoon Network around the 2000s. So like 2000 or 2002 or 2003 or something like that. It was really highly rated. That's actually how I discovered it on Cartoon Network. It was a really good anime, so I got really into it. Now, a cool little tidbit is they actually announced like in December 2020 that they were actually gonna do a live action representation of it on Netflix. So that's something to look forward to. Hopefully it gets a good live action representation and not like Death Note or something, you know? So here's hoping. Cross fingers. Now let's veer into why I want to reintroduce it to you guys. Why I think it's something that if you haven't watched it, you should definitely take a look at it and you're gonna enjoy it. So one of the things right off the bat that I can tell you that I really enjoyed about this anime is it has one of the best tournament arcs in any anime. That's right, including like Dragon Ball Z, which we all know and love. This one has a really good tournament arc that explores the characters a little bit more than just the main protagonist. So it was really enjoyable. Another thing that I really liked about it, and to this day, the dub on it is actually very well made. I've watched it in Japanese, and to be honest, I actually prefer it in dub format, which is very weird for anime. Like most anime, you do not want to listen to the dub. Uh, if you've watched Naruto and just believe it.
Believe it!
For the umpteenth time, and you don't cringe when you when you hear that, well then you're gonna absolutely love the dub on this anime because they're not nearly as annoying as that. Now, why the dub sounds so good, I think it's because they took a little bit of liberties with the actual translation. Sometimes they didn't go to the literal translation and just made it like got the point across by not being literal with it, because I mean sometimes they just said dumb things and they said dumb things in another language, but it wasn't the actual thing that they said. So they took a little bit of liberty on that and it sounded a lot more natural than just trying to force it and trying to make it fit the literal translation of it. It didn't take away anything from the story, and I actually thought it was a really good idea because I mean it sounded natural. Now this is another surprise for me, and that's that I actually prefer the English dub openings and closings. Most of the time the English dub versions are just whack, and I can say that on this one I actually prefer how they sound. Well, obviously you understand the lyrics, but it's not about, to me it's not about that, it's just about how the music sounds, and I actually thought it sounded more full on the English version than on the Japanese version. Now they both sound very similar. It's not like they completely changed the song like in Dragon Ball Z and Rock the Dragon versus Shalala, or Head Shala versus Head Shala. Sorry, Shalala. But yeah, this one actually sounded very similar to it. But again, in English, it was really good. So now, personally, I've rewatched this anime like 4 or 5 times already. So I can tell you, you are definitely gonna enjoy it. And this is the first time that I'm actually gonna give a certificate of badass. Yes, that's right. Yu Yu Hakusho gets the first ever Retro Dude certificate of badass. That's right, guys. We are now the authority on badass. So if you guys see this label and it says Retro Dude Certified Badass, then you can take that to the bank. And if somebody still says, hey, that thing's badass, but it's not Retro Dude Badass, it's just not badass. That's it. So after our hero protagonist, Yusuke Urameshi, is given a second lease on life, he is now what's called the spirit detective. So it's his job to hunt down apparitions, which are demons in this instance, and make sure that they don't wreak havoc on the living world. So that's the premise of the anime. Along the way, though, he meets up with some other characters, other demons, and one of the things that I really enjoyed about this anime is it has a really mature take on morality. So it's not a demons are bad, humans are good kind of a thing. It actually crosses, and yeah, humans are bad and demons are good. Not all of them, but it just basically brings it down to how things are in the real world. You get me? Some people are good, some people are bad. It's not just this general populace is bad or this general populace is good. That's not how it is in real life, and they explored that in this anime. Another thing that I really enjoyed is the characters are explored a lot more than, for example, Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball as a series, basically what it did was it explored the character that it was introducing for that arc, and after that they would just forget about it, and no further growth was seen through that character. On this one, it actually takes the time to have you get to know these other characters. So you have Yusuke Urameshi, which is the protagonist, and he's actually the one that's explored the least. If you really look at the anime, you have Kuwabara, who's like the other young thug who's basically trying to challenge him and trying to beat him, trying to be better than him. He's a human who's just trying to get by and trying to befriend Yusuke Urameshi through fighting him. So that little arc is explored through that. Then you have a demon that's called Kurama. He's like the cool-headed of the bunch. He's older than all of them. He's cooler. He's collected. He's very smart. So whenever they get into a pinch, he's the one who's actually thinking of ways to get out of it. He's the cerebral, basically, of the party. It turns out he's actually a demon fox. So I guess that's why he's so smart. I mean, that's why that character's there. So yeah, he's as smart as a fox. Then you got Hiei, who's also a demon. He has like a little short guy complex because he's a shorter guy, but he's like one of the stronger guys in the party. He actually contributed to having one of the coolest moves in the anime series. We'll delve a little bit deeper into that. He also gets explored as a personality wise, more than once actually. All of these characters do get explored a little bit more than once to show the growth. It's not a like a montage of, oh look, he's training, now he's getting stronger, and there you go. No, it actually takes a little bit more on personality wise and how that shapes them to be what they are. And even his master, his teacher, Genkai, actually takes a little bit of that as well, that growth and that exploration. And it turns out that the best tournament arc that we have actually revolves around her a little bit, and it's very nice to see these characters actually grow and be explored and get their light to shine. So it was actually very well written in that sense that you got to care about more than just the protagonist or the antagonist. You get me? So I enjoyed that. So like Naruto, it's not just about them getting stronger, it's about them growing as a person or being crafty at winning. So uh, during these tournament arcs, it's not just about, oh, this person's stronger, like he's gonna win, he's gonna pound him to the ground. We do get to see that, but you get to see crafty wins, which is what, in my opinion, made Naruto so enjoyable. Just the fact that it's like, oh my god, this was a really smart way to win, or like I never got to see that. That comes down to the writer and how involved they are and how crafty they are in writing, actually, like making it be surprising on how they won. So kudos to that as well. So one of those wins comes down to like Kurama basically faking the guy out when he threw like a rock at him or something, and you just towards the end you see that he can't even move or anything, and he ends up winning anyways because he threw some seed into the guy's heart that just like pops out and eats him from the inside. It was really cool. It was really enjoyable. So they do actually keep it pretty fresh and not repetitive. There are certain things that they do repeat, but for the most part, like the fight scenes are always very original, and they don't repeat as much as they do on other anime. So like I said, the tournament arc is basically the high point of the anime. You have, if I remember correctly, it has like three tournament arcs. It has the first one, which is just basically him trying to get Genkai to become his teacher. She holds a tournament to see who she's gonna teach. Then the second tournament is the badass one. That's the one where we get introduced to the one of the coolest antagonists that an anime as a whole. He's called Toguro. He's a guy who's basically a demon, and he powers up. He's just like all muscle. He powers up. He goes from like, I'm gonna use 13% of my power. I'm gonna use 100% of my power. That's when it goes all crazy. But that's just basically like where it turns out on that tournament. Actually, that tournament and the first fight that we got to see the coolest move, in my opinion, from here that I mentioned earlier. It's called the Darkness of the Dragon Flame. This thing was total badass. It got you so hyped up when you're watching this. It's like, oh my god, like when he's powering up, his shirt rips off and he just like throws a punch and you see the dragon come out through the fist, and it's a black dragon. And basically this guy who was a total badass, the opponent, he just gets incinerated. All you see is just a silhouette on the wall. That's how badass that move was. So this was actually the first fight that we got to see in the tournament from their party, and it was just so hyped up. It's like, damn, this is how they decided to start it. Hell yeah, this is badass. And the last tournament arc is just basically closing out all of their stories. It doesn't hit a high note as much as that one that I just mentioned with versus Toguro does. It is pretty good, and it does end up, it does tightly close out the story, so it doesn't feel like it dragged on. I'm gonna mention another anime that I really enjoyed was Rurouni Kenshin. That one actually felt like it dragged on. There was an arc basically that was just super good. It was awesome, and once it got to that point, it never actually reached that pinnacle, and it actually took a huge nosedive in quality. So I could probably just say just watch it up to that and ignore everything else. But yeah, this one does not do that. It doesn't reach the pinnacle, but it taters down slowly and still enjoyable. I definitely do recommend you checking out the other arcs because they are still very good, very enjoyable watch. So it's also not a long watch by any means. It's about 100 episodes, a little bit more than that. So you're actually gonna get to watch it and not be like, oh my god, you won't be too overwhelmed like you would be for like One Piece. Basically that thing has like 1,000 episodes or something. Like, it's just overwhelming for some people to actually begin watching it. This one's only like 100 episodes, a little bit over that, so you're not gonna be too crazy about it. You could actually binge watch this like in a week or two if you actually put some effort into it. If you actually do plan on watching it, I think it is on Crunchyroll or at least Funimation, because they're the ones who released it here in the States. They do have an app, but personally, I actually purchased it on Apple TV, and I've seen it for special. I mean, I didn't pay $100 or anything like that. I actually got the whole complete anime for like $20, which is a really good deal. I completely, as soon as I saw it for that price, I'm getting this. Like, buy it now, think later. So yeah, I mean, I've seen it more than once, so I've probably seen it like 3 times already going for that price. So I definitely do recommend you guys, if you have an Apple phone or an Apple TV, definitely just keep an eye on that, because I mean, at $20 it's a steal. And remember, if you're looking for, because I do think whenever they sell them, they either sell it to you in Japanese version or in the dub version. Whatever version actually comes on special, you won't be disappointed. The dub version is actually very good, and it is how I prefer to watch it. I definitely want you guys to check this anime out. It is very enjoyable. Like I said, I've watched it already like 4 or 5 times, so I can definitely guarantee you it is going to be an enjoyable watch. So thanks for joining me and taking a look at this awesome anime that I know you guys will enjoy. And if you guys have any suggestions, don't forget to write it in the comments. Any anime that you want us to take a look at and explore, I definitely would like to see those in the comment section below. And as always, if you guys enjoy my content, don't forget to click the subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, it helps out. And as always, stay retro.